Good afternoon, good evening. This is Toyin Umesiri, CEO of Nazaru and the founder of Trade with Africa Network and Trade with Africa Summit. It's been a while, but I have a couple of things I wanted to just share today. Three ways to really advance business, trade, and investments, right? So I've been receiving so many questions. I just thought, you know what? It's been a while. Let me just come out here and also share it publicly. Drop a note if you're joining or if you're team replay. Let me know where you're joining from, and then I'll get right to it. I actually have my notes because I want to be very specific today, and let's talk about it. So, here's the reality, right? Most people, at least within the circles that I move, understand the opportunities that Africa presents within the world of international trade. So I think I hope we're past that. So in my circle, I don't have to talk about why Africa anymore. Within our space, within my community, at least the one we've created, Africa, everybody knows Africa is the next El Dorado. However, there are a couple of things that we've seen, particularly in our community. And those are the three things I want to share today. The first thing is this idea that you really do need to get in proximity of the right trade, business, investment stakeholders. So, what do I mean? So, social media is absolutely great, fantastic. But because there's little barrier to entry, what it means that you're going to find everybody, right? Everybody's on social media, and then the responsibility is on each person to have their own qualifying factors and filters. So you have to have clarity in terms of the types of people you want to engage with, right? So you have to have your own filter, otherwise you don't know who is who. The other thing is that a lot of the stakeholders that we even work with, they're even not on social media. One in particular was like, with the former CEO of LinkedIn, was asking him to come on LinkedIn, and he was like, "What do I need LinkedIn for?" Right? So there aren't barriers, or should I say, there's really low barrier to entry on any of the social media platforms, and because of that, you have everybody's up, everybody's on social. And for you, if you're someone that you want to advance business, trade, and investment, you really have to do extra work. Oh, Winnie, Miss Winnie, I see you. Good morning, good afternoon. Awesome. So yeah, if you're joining Team Replay or you're watching this live, just drop a note and tell me where you're joining from. So yeah, so the first thing is proximity. So your network, the network you've created or the network you've curated for yourself. So social media has everybody. It's like it has all the quote and unquote fish, right? You have to then qualify the types of people that are relevant to your business, and you also have to know that some of them are really may not even be on social media, right? So it becomes very important. The other option, which is the route we are taking, is get into a community that has already done pre-qualification for you in a way. At least they've kind of put together the types of players that potentially would be relevant to what it is you're doing. So for example, when I host global summits and events, there is barrier to entry. So people don't just stumble into our spaces, they don't just stumble into our community. Why? Because we have a barrier. You have to be looking for something. You have to be serious minded. It's not, oh, we want to check out. No. The communities that we've housed with our events, they are just specific stakeholders that we want to engage with, right? And we've done the work using our own filter. For example, our speakers are hand selected from all over the world, and they have to fit into certain criteria. We want to see the leading experts in trade, business, and investment facilitation, really not just mid-level, really the people at the top, the decision makers. I mean, just this morning, some of our previous speakers, they are also moving up and advancing, and I had some good news. So, Komi, if you're watching, congratulations again. They are moving up, up the chain, United Nations. Yeah. So, really, the game changers, the leaders. So, the leaders of advancing trade, business, investment, whether in government or business, those are the people we attract, and those are the people we want to engage with. That's our criteria, right? Because we're going after quality, not quantity, right? It doesn't have to be 1,000 people. No, one player is enough to be a game changer. So when we say engaging with African Union Commissioner of Trade, he has responsibility for the entire continent, right? So when we work and engage with him, for example, last October when we partnered with his office, right, on behalf of my company, pretty much they sent a letter to all the countries for our trade and investment facilitation training. So that's what I mean. One key stakeholder is enough, to advance the goals. It doesn't. So that's one of the things when I look at people gathering network and all of those things, you have to be very strategic, right? For me, quality over quantity. Quality over quantity anytime, right? Because you can have 1,000 people. Okay, so let me share one of my principles with networking. People say your network is your net worth. I say this is only true if you belong to a network of value. Okay. And you also know how to extract value. What do I mean? Just let me use this analogy, right? Look at a bank. If you look at a bank building, the only reason a bank is different from a regular building is because of the value in that bank, right? Gold, all of those chiching. Otherwise, it's just a building. It's just another building. What distinguishes it as a bank is what it owns. And it's the same thing with your network. A network is a network. But what value does your network have? That's the game changer. That's what I mean by quality. Can you pick up a phone and call a significant government stakeholder? I mean, if that is something you need, if your client needs to move in will they even pick up your phone, right? So you have to be more strategic, and that's what we've curated over the years. Strategic key players are the leading from whether World Bank, whether African Union, US government, like quality over quantity, right? You can have 10,000 people in your network, but if they cannot move on behalf of your commercial interest, really, what does it translate into net worth for you? Yeah, the second thing you have to do really is how do you extract value? One thing I say is that we women, we may build network, but the power to ask for our value, like I have what you need, okay? I can deliver value for you and I'm not giving it for free. That ability to do value exchange, to bring value to your network and to ask for value in return is another thing entirely that I find that people don't know how to do. I've had to learn it, particularly transitioning from corporate to become an entrepreneur and all of this work. So be aware of that. So again, the first thing in terms of if you want to advance business, trade, and investments, are you in proximity of the key stakeholders you actually want to engage with? Are you within quarter? Can they see you? Can you see them? Are you engaging with them? Because we only do business with people we know, like, and trust. And I usually recommend that don't rush into any type of business engagement. Take time to get to know people, do your due diligence before you engage. And those things take time. So that's why we've curated our own community and we've moved it online right now. When I host events and all of those things, I'm very specific in terms of who we want, what type of players we're engaging with. People don't stumble into our spaces. They come in for specific reasons, whether they're in business or government. Okay, I see. Okay, thank you so much. I see the comments. Let me quickly read some of the comments before I go to the next one. Okay, I see AJ. Wow, very nice speech. Thank you. I appreciate it. I came prepared. Andre says, hello, Tony, joining from UK. I hope you guys can hear me very well. I've upgraded everything, right? Next level. Okay. Joining from UK, but as always, only briefly. Sure, there will be a replay. You can always access this. This video will be active after we go live, because I know people are very busy, right? Extremely busy. So you can watch it at your leisure. I'll leave it out there. So thank you for that. Miss Queenie says, yes, focusing on barrier to entry leads to fast and profitable movement. Absolutely, right? Even today, right? What I've also seen is that there are a lot of events and activities out there. A lot of it are free. But one thing I'll say is the ones that it's more likely that the ones that put a price to entry hold more value than the ones that are free, right? Like these things are, maybe we just have to keep educating people on it, right? In the past, when we host events and it has to be in person, right? You realize that people have to pay thousands of dollars, an average of maybe $5,000, right? To fly from international location to say Chicago, and whether we're hosting in Chicago or Arkansas or anywhere we're landing the event, they have to invest minimum of $5,000 to actually show up. And we have people that fly maybe 2 members of their team, 3 members of their team, right? Like African Union, 3 members. African Exim Bank, they 2 members. Like, so this is a huge investment for them to be at my event. So you can be rest assured that the quality of stakeholders you are meeting in my space, you can just be assured that people didn't stumble, right? They invested to be there because they are looking for something, they're looking for particular specific types of people. But because now everything is virtual, you find that so many people are coming. The speed at which people are raising events, it's just a matter of getting 2-3 people now event, right? Free, we want email. It's been watered down so much. So it's up to you to really audit, right? Audit where you show up and who is speaking and what type of engagement and access those spaces actually will give you, right? It's now up to you, because there's every day you all receive invitations. If you're invited here, you're invited there. Free, right? How many of it have you been to? How many of it opened opportunities for you? Watch out. So it's up to you to really see the ones that actually charge will give you more value, because they're going to have to give you a service that is what you're paying for. They're going to do something. They're more likely to do something that is different than showing up to free events. You just go in, you listen to speech, and that's it. But when there is interaction, where there is B2B engagement, when there is B2G, when there is Q&A and engagement, because we want to give you value for the money. So it's not, if it's free, I don't owe you nothing, right? If you come, I don't owe you zero. I owe you zero. But if you've paid to be in my space, you can be rest assured that because of our brand and our reputation in the marketplace, we want you to walk away feeling like you got value in return. So watch out for that, because the responsibility is now on everybody to decide where you show up at, right? You just have to filter it, right? Because, one thing I'm hearing from people, oh, I've attended so many events, so right? No, here's the key. If you keep showing up to places that are free, what value? You listen, it's great. These are things you could watch anywhere else. But when people start engaging in B2G, business to government to government, business to business conversations that allows you to promote your work, capture opportunities, that's a next level. You have to pay for that. Okay, I'm seeing more comments. Miss Winnie says, say it again. Quality over quantity is the object. That's it. One, I mean, okay, I'm getting ready to host the second edition of Nigeria Investment Conference. The way people don't even ask, Tony, how do you pull these things off? But maybe I'll be sharing some of those principles and mindset, right? Last November, I believe, 2020, we hosted the first edition. We had investment officers, export promotion officers, special assistants to the Nigerian president and AFCFT, right? We go for the decision makers. Just that's what we need, not a volume of 10,000, right? The decision makers, that when we engage with them, we're going to get the latest information, and they're going to be able to open doors, like it's a one-on-one. There aren't any middlemen, right? So that's what to watch out for. Miss Funke says, joining from Indiana. Is it India or Indiana? And you said, I agree, it's important to identify events of value. Thank you so much for that. Quality networking, information, and resources. Spot on. Indiana. Okay, awesome. You corrected that. So thank you for joining from Indiana. And then Miss Winnie says, need to be in an environment with the same up-level mindset. Absolutely. Like I said, Social media is great, fantastic. But if you're on social media January to December, okay, and you don't have a strategy to qualify the people you are engaging with, because you now have to do the filter. Social media platforms is not going to filter anything for you. You didn't pay, again, you didn't pay social you didn't pay social media anything. They are giving you free access to their platforms. So we appreciate you, social media. But then you have to in a way have your own criteria of the types of people you're looking for, the types of people you can serve, the types of people you want in your space, and the types of people you want to engage with. You have to do that work, right? You can't leave it to chance. Like chance is anybody, anything, right? And lately I've been saying that if you want to go to Harvard or top schools, right? You have to follow their process. They have a criteria for filtering the types of people that go to Harvard, right? You have to follow the application process. You have to pay the application fee, all of that. So communities that hold value for you, for your transformation, are always gated. They're always gated. And I've seen it, right? When I fly, like 2018, flying to Cairo, Egypt, you're going to, right? Or all the events that I have been to or I host, right? You have to invest in your future. You plane tickets, hotel feeding, right? Cost of doing business, right? But today, that's the power of online. Now you can access things, but you have to have a strategy, because not every community is going to give you what you're looking for. So that's the first thing I just want to say. Get into proximity of the right trade and investment stakeholder and business community that will help you unlock value. And that community has to hold value. It's not just any community. So you have to be clear, like, what value are you looking for and which community. So for us, trade, Nazaru.trade is our digital community. So over the years, when we host events, people will fly in and then exchange business card and then fly out. So even before COVID, this is more than 2 years old platform, Nazaru.trade. We've been running for more than 2 years, right? Why did we create that? Because when I host events, we will bring those key people in, exchange business card, and then they will leave. And eventually they started saying, Toyin, how do we remain in community with these unique stakeholders? Because these are not random people you stumble on any day, right? So I actually started that journey on a WhatsApp group long time ago, more than 4 years ago, right? Right, 2018. So that's like almost 5 years ago, right? It was a WhatsApp group. So everybody coming to the event, we started putting them in WhatsApp group. They started engaging, talking, networking, and then we matured that space, because I wasn't just looking for contacts. I was looking for a place to also house our knowledge base. Okay. So we have videos, articles, market insights. So I wasn't just looking for a place for where people can connect. We also needed a place where we can put content, resources, exclusive resources, because why? At the early years, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I also made mistakes. Now I've learned. You put things on social media, you say, oh, this information is really important. 24 hours later, the information is no longer valid, right? And people that will join a year from now, you can't even find the things I posted or shared 2, 3 weeks ago, talk less of 2 years ago. So the information and the data that we have is of high value, exclusive, and they keep being relevant over years. And I realized social media was not a place to play with those things, right? So the community Nazaru.trade houses not just people and networking, it actually houses more than 2 years of knowledge base around business, trade, and investment. Okay. Those I'm just sharing the behind the scenes of why we do what we do today, right? And you can search it. It's indexed. You can search it. All you have to do is type AFCFTA, and everything that has ever been shared around AFCFTA or your topic of interest, you can consume and learn that. So that's number one. Proximity. Get in proximity of the right stakeholders. Miss Winnie also said, and if you have to filter through social media space, slows the speed to achieving your objective. I agree. Paying to have that filtering done is of massive value. Thank you, Miss Winnie. I appreciate that. We just have to. Successful people already know this principle. Like, this is a principle of success. That's why you have golf clubs. Only certain people subscribe. They pay annual fees to be in that golf club. You have yacht club. You have to have a yacht to be in that club. So they filter the rest of people out. They only want to be in relation with people like us. People like us do things like this, just like Seth Godin would say. People like us stay in spaces like this. We invest in ourselves and we pay to be playing golf every weekend and exchanging business ideas. Right? I remember a few years ago, I think 2019, one of our platform investors and advisors, I was trying to set up a meeting. I was like, oh, I need, are you free this week? He was like, Towing, this week I'm in Florida. This is it PGA or whatever annual golf they do every year in Florida. I realized that every single year, all the sales teams and top executives in the company, they are always there. They don't miss that event. Why? It's a networking game. That's where they close deals. Because everybody you are bumping into in that space during the golf tournament, they paid a high price to be there. They're looking for you and you are looking for them. Anyway, so successful people, this is not new. They already know this, right? But the key now is people who want to move up and level up. You have to know this. You have to, right? Like, no, yeah. Anyway, let me move on to the next thing. I have my notes, like I said. Okay. So get into proximity with key stakeholders. Make sure you're filtering. You have your own filter. For me, you have to do your own due diligence. Everybody, when everybody that say they are ABC, you have to trust but verify. That's on each person. The second thing to advancing business, trade, and investment, number two, skill set. I see a huge gap in skill set. And what I say is that, imagine if you want to fish and you can see the fish in the ocean. They are swimming, right? They fish. And you came to the ocean without your baits and without your rod or your fishing net and the skill to catch your fish and clean it up. That's what I'm seeing. Is that even when we bring people into proximity of one another, because there's a skill set gap, right, which we are now feeling, and I'll share what we're doing right now. They are not able to interact with, say, government, investors in the right way enough to pitch or extract value. So remember what I said at the beginning. Your network is your net worth if you can do two things. One, create or belong to a network of value, right? That has value, valuable people, valuable insights, valuable connections. Remember, I talked about the bank. A building is a building, but if it is marked as a bank, it's because of what it houses. Otherwise, it's just another building. And that building has to be fortified in certain ways, right? There's always entry. Okay, cost of entry. So remember what I said. So knowing that value or being in a community of value is step one. Two, being able to exchange value in that community, understanding the culture of that community, bringing value to that community, and you then being able to extract value from that community, saying, I have a service I can provide, being able to pitch your service and being able to extract, meaning value exchange. You are in it for business, right? So commercial exchange, right? The skill to do that. And over the years, where we've now landed, there are 3 courses now that I teach. Again, because of all the experiences, I mean, I engage with more people on an average day than an average person does. I talk to people up and down the chain. Sometimes I say I'm running an elevator, penthouse, middle floor, ground floor. Where are you going? Pay me. Okay, so There are now three levels of courses I teach. Okay. So I've been teaching it in my private space, in my private practice, but now I'm bringing it more to business schools and international trade communities. Why? I started out with teaching trade and investment facilitation, which was the most advanced, right? So I came from corporate in the international trade space. So I came into the landscape with let's go, only for me to realize like I was asking people to fly, but I needed to come back and teach the foundational stuff. So I started with the very top one, trade and investment facilitation, like how to work with government, how to engage with investors, how to talk about policies, legal structures, all of those. That's what I started years ago because that's where I was coming from. Only for me to realize that we have to actually mature people. We have to actually mature our community members. So now I've now built better foundation. So the foundation is really entrepreneurship, right? So even people saying, oh, international trade, I want to export, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying, after looking at what people are doing, I'm like, you're not applying foundational business principles. You have to go back and strengthen your foundation because if your foundation can only hold 1-story building, you're telling me you want to build 10-story building, we have to secure that foundation first. So I now teach entrepreneurship, like 6 steps, the process, like entrepreneurship principles, understanding your customers, clients, your business model, how are you going to make money, what value, what's your value proposition? Because when you come into those communities, if you are somebody of zero value, nobody would engage with you because the community paid to be there. They are looking for value, and you have to bring value as well. You have to bring value. You have to bring value. You have to bring value. I'm repeating that. A lot of times people just want to extract value, but they are not bringing value. We are fixing that quickly. You have to bring value. You have to be able to, you have to be valuable for you to say you want to extract value. It's a value exchange. It's not charity, right? In the world of charity, you keep take. We are using somebody else's funds to advance your own goals. No, in the world of business, international trade, at least what we are saying is the future, not foreign aid, international trade, business to government. You have to bring something to the table. So that's where that foundational entrepreneurship mindset comes in. We want to set that, like, come into our space with the right mindset. Entrepreneurship, you're bringing a value, you're providing services, you understand the people that you can work with, right? Right. I used to assume people knew this, but now I don't assume anymore. We'll take you through that. Okay. And then your business model, your sales distribution strategy, your marketing plan. Many times people think one time you engage and that's it. No, constant. You see me, Nazaru, every day. It's constant. And I coach people. You have to be constant, marketing, engaging, telling people what you can do for them, why you exist, what you hope to do. The biggest brands in the world invest heavily in marketing. You have to be in the face. I have to be in your face. I have to be telling you every day my story. Okay. Don't get yeah. You have to be showing up. Show up. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you can do. Tell us what you're looking for. And do it with excellence, right? Okay. I caught myself laughing now. I have to. Okay, let me get serious back. So, the foundation of what I teach is now entrepreneurship. And then the second level is what I call export development. When you're doing cross-border transactions. So, and the base entrepreneurship can be taken by anybody. And that's why I also have a new Toyin Mesiri Academy, right? Just that's purely for entrepreneurship, because I also recognize not everybody is interested in Africa, right? I get it, but at least you want to show up and strengthen your entrepreneurship, right, goals, right, and achieve it. So entrepreneurship is the base of what I teach, and then the next level up is export development. So taking your services and products across border. What strategies do you have to employ? How do you do that? Right. So this is back to skills, right? So I now teach and coach that. And then the third level, when you finish that, the next level investor relations and working with governments, policies, the legal structures, and all of those things. That's the third bucket. So that's what I do. I've been doing this, and I've realized people don't understand the logic and the why of every time you see me. One of my friends in DC was like, Toy, every time you're hosting something, masterclass, workshop, I'm like, yes. I found that, the reason trade number is low is because people see the opportunities, but they don't have the skill set. They don't have the skill set. And many people don't want to admit that they don't have the skill set. Something has to change. So we have courses and programs around entrepreneurship, trade and investment facilitation, and export development. Because at the end of the day, AFCFTA in the business world, your goal is to export your products and services to new markets, meaning reach more people, make more money, but you have to be able to structure those engagements, partnerships. So I also teach things around partnerships, like what legal structures do you put behind? Is it distributorship, sales agreement? You have to know all of these things, because I realize that people don't invest in knowing it, so they go into spaces without preparing, and they get burnt, and then they come back and say, oh, these, and then you hear all of the stories. And I say at least a good 50% of those horror stories could have been prevented if they did the right due diligence. So market entry strategies and everything like that. Okay, before I go to the third thing, let me also say I see more comments. This talk is so rich. Thank you. Oh, you said you hate to have to leave now. You will revisit the replay. So to catch up on what you're missing. Thank you so much, Toyin, for this profitable talk. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. So I know people are busy, and that's why I'm investing in this type of format, live format, and then the video stays out there and people can watch. You can watch it when you're lying down, when you're chilling. In fact, last week, Lillian, if you're watching Lillian later, she was like, she's one of those that attend my events and we invest in, right? She was like, oh, I there was a day I was catching up on everything I missed. I watched 4 of your videos in the same day. I was like, that conversation was so funny. She was like, back to back to back. So you can play catch up. So I get it. You can play catch up. We'll leave this out there. So the third thing is knowledge. So number 1, get into proximity. Number 2, acquire the right skills, like to fish, to make sure you have the right bait, whether it's entrepreneurship, export development, the strategies, how to work with buyers, importers, exporters. Those are in my classes at Nazaru.trade. And then trade and investment facilitation is really the advanced level of engagement, government relations, all of those things, right? The third one is knowledge. Knowledge. International trade is about intellectual rigor. Your intellectual, what you know. That is what you have to bring to the next, because people suffer for what they do not know. And that's why now I understand what the Bible means. Okay? People suffer because they show up into business dealings because of lack of knowledge and lack of understanding. So one thing I now joke about, like, if you follow me enough, you eventually you will get a PhD, because staying at the surface, right? I find a lot of people, they are eating from the surface, which is headline, news report, what people are saying, that is someone's propaganda. If you want to really advance, you have to dig deeper. You have to dig deeper for market insights, policy understanding. Like, for example, right, business leaders subscribe to like Harvard Business Review, and right, because those those editorials and those materials, or those entities, they've done deep research that they now present, and again, you pay for that, because whatever you don't pay for is common, is at the surface, and real gold and diamond, you have to dig deeper. So even in whatever knowledge you're operating with now, enhance your knowledge, dig deeper. AFCFTA, everybody says, oh, AFCFTA is a game changer. Have you read it? Do you know how to use it? Do you know the what how again? Let me keep this conversation lighter because I'm getting more intense now. Let me chill. Let me just bring take it down a notch. Okay. Acquire knowledge. The knowledge you have is what will determine the opportunities you can unlock. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So invest in research, okay, market research, policy research, legal structure research. Like, let research be your best friend. Because if you don't invest in researching and diving deeper, you are just at the surface and there's nothing much of value at the surface. If you're saying everything everybody's saying, you are not getting the real stuff. So that's why, in terms of our events, when we bring like or invite the people at the leading front, they bring us insights, right? They bring it to the surface because this data and this information of public private partnership opportunities, government incentives, agricultural incentives, these things are buried and they are sitting in places you do not know. So when I host events, that's really the strategy why I host events. It's not like I have time to be hosting events, right? The reason I host events is that the knowledge experts that have the database or the knowledge base, they come to us, we bring them together, like World Bank chief economist on Africa. World Bank has data, they come to us. United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, they have data. They are technical experts to AFCFTA. They show up and they bring data to us. US government, Prosper Africa, they have data of the 17 government agencies and what they offer. They bring that to us. African Union, they bring that. So when I host events, the strategy and the why for me is that you cannot find this knowledge, they're not on the surface. So we bring the people that house the knowledge and the market insights. We bring them together within our community and we socialize that data and then we house the data. That's the strategy we employ. So that's why our event is not free. There are some things we do. I mean, like this, I put knowledge out there, but the capacity that we're developing is the meat on the bone. It's not, we don't water it down, right? So again, check out Nazaru.trade. That's really the online edition of our community. We have other platforms that we run, but Nazaru.trade is where all of this work happens: connection, training, capacity building, and then coaching. I also offer one on one coaching because at the end of the day, we also have to learn this and personalize it as well. So that's it for today. If you're team replay, please let me know. Drop a comment. I always come back later to look at questions, right? And thank you. I try to keep this 38 minutes. Okay, that's about what I could do today. And that's it. So, quick recap of what I shared. To advance business, trade, and investment, which is what people want to do, right? You want to advance, you want to be part of you want to lead, right? Business, trade, and investment, whether you're a business stakeholder or you're a government stakeholder, right? In my classes, trade and investment facilitation class, these are hours and hours of training, like 3 hours here, 2 hours here, 3 hours. Like, it's really loaded. Like tomorrow, I'm actually talking about strategies around e-commerce, how you can use technology and e-commerce to export, right? To expand to new markets. That's what I'm sharing tomorrow for our members, right? So I teach, I coach, but we also put people in proximity of one another. And we have a lot of testimonials of how it's been a game changer for people. People are unlocking value for themselves in the community. So it's working. We just want to scale it up. So get into proximity, right? 2, acquire the skills. And 3, knowledge. Pursue knowledge. Dig deeper. Don't stay at the surface. Invest in understanding what's going on. That's what I have for you today. And my name is Toyin Umesiri. If you want to learn more about me, please head over to toyinumesiri.com. We have some resources. Actually, I have like articles, bundled resources that you can buy, like, again, research, learn, right there. I think there's one around 18 articles that it's bundled up. I'm also working on books and all. Eventually. I need to hurry up on that. In fact, Lillian also told me story. We're waiting for your book. I'm like, now I can have time for that because I've been busy putting those programs and everything together, and so it's just easy to adapt those things now in a book format. So, but until then, you can pretty much access um some articles that I've written, a bundle of them. Why do I write? Okay, it's because I see the struggle, I see the opportunities, I see the struggles, I see the gap, and part of it is knowledge, closing that knowledge gap, educating people, just like this session. Three things you can do. If you implement it, you will win. If you don't implement it, I can't help. Sorry. So that's also where the coaching comes in. Is that knowledge is not just enough. We also have to inspire people and guide people and encourage people and connect people for them to unlock value for yourself. This is about you. This is about your journey. This is about what you are trying to achieve. And for us at Nazaru, what we do is support you on that journey. That journey is your journey, right? I have my own journey, right? I'm on my own journey, but we realize that it's a painful process. And what we've done at Nazaru, really busy just creating support platforms that will help you achieve your goals faster. That's really the logic behind why I do what I do. So our ultimate goal is to increase and accelerate trade with Africa. And in order for us to do it well, we know all of these things has to happen. So we're waiting for you. Join us at Nazaru.trade. God bless you all. That's it for today. Bye.